People around the world, you're welcome on POP Podcast, Progress Over Perfection, the podcast that will change your life forever. Are you ready? Let's go! Ciao a tutti and you welcome another appointment with POP, Progress Over Perfection, the podcast that will change your life. Today we are going to talk about nutrition in relationship with Lisa Mackay. Lisa Mackay is a naturopath and metabolic balance practitioner with a 23 years of experience. I think is enough years experience to shut up and listen because she can teach something to us today. Thank you, Lisa, to be here today.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
We already have a few conversation, and I really fascinated in the way that you talk about nutrition, something different. Can I ask you, what inspired you to become a naturopath? What is the story behind that?
So I was working in hospitality. I had done all my study in regards to hospitality management and was working in a 5-star hotel. And one of my regular clients that I had there, she actually had been to a naturopath. And it actually took my interest. And I was like, I wonder what that is. And I was having a few digestive problems at a young age, my early 20s, late teens, when I was working there. And I just was like, I think I want to go and have a little look. And I happened to have chosen one of the best naturopaths then to have seen. And obviously there was very few of them. And it literally did change my life because something as simple as changing the food, which I knew about food. I mean, I've always been quite health conscious, but to the extent that I did, and it made such a profound difference in my health because I don't know if you know about Mauro, hospitality, but they're crazy hours. They're crazy hours, crazy food,
Yes.
crazy life, all this stuff. Brilliant. Love it. I used to love it. But, your health is not obviously a priority, and I needed to be in tip-top condition
Mm.
for looking after the departments that I was looking after and all the staff I was looking after. So that was the initial bit that got me interested. And then after a little bit of time thinking, maybe I don't want to stay in hospitality, it might not be really aligning to what I love, I decided to study. And there was a beautiful, amazing clinic training school in Perth back in the day, which is no longer exists, where we actually had, doctors who were teaching us pathology. There were German herbalists teaching us how to do herbal mixtures. There was Indian doctors who were teaching us homeopathy. So I was very blessed when I actually did naturopathy because I actually had the best of the best and still are the best in Australia, teach me so many skills. And yeah, it just blossomed from there and I never looked back.
Very fascinating. Can you explain to the people who do not know what is a neuropath? What is a neuropath?
Yeah. So a naturopath is someone who looks at your body as a whole. Yeah. We're not looking at just a part of the body and trying to fix a part of the body, because when you kind of look back and, look at perspective, hopefully people will realize that, our hand doesn't just work, there's so much more to it. So a naturopath looks at the body as a whole. We look at the root cause, what's actually causing the issues rather than looking at just the symptoms. And we use holistic, whole, real foods rather than medications and Band-Aids. So we will utilize supplements if required, but my specialty is what I have turned back to is looking at the real foods, the whole real foods, and working out what works best for your body. So it's very unique. So not one size fits all. So we're very specific and asking lots of questions, delving in deep if we're required, to find out how you tick, what's happened in your world, and how to make you feel so much better. Simple as that.
Very, very simple, but very,
Mm,
very powerful. Is what
mm,
we need. We need to be true to ourselves and look our body, try to understand what our body need, and because anyway, what we put in is what we put out. So, and this why this I started this podcast because first of all, I really believe in self-development. I really believe that we need to put ourselves out there and study to become the best version of ourselves. And plus, give me the chance to talk with people like you so I can learn for myself as well. So, can I ask you, as you know, I do couple therapy. What is the impact of food, nutrition in our daily life?
in daily life,
What is
yeah.
the impact that nutrition have in our lives?
Such a great question, Mauro. I love that. From my experience and from my clients' experience and what I hear each and every day, it can either make you feel like when you wake up, like you feel sluggish, you feel bloated. If you're not eating the right foods, you could have brain fog. You could feel very sad, feel very deflated. You could feel very pessimistic potentially. You could have so many symptoms. When we eat the good food that is right for us, yeah, instead of guessing, because if we guess, we usually get it wrong. So I take the guess out of it. I work with pathology and make sure people have blood tests so we know exactly, what food's right for them. When we've eaten food that is right for us, we wake up feeling like we want to get up. We wake up with some motivation. We wake up with potentially a spring in our step. We wake up wanting to actually connect with people. We wake up feeling like we've got energy to sustain through the day, to cope with stress. So food for me, and when you think about it, food is everything. If we didn't have food, we don't survive.
Mm,
So, and I love, Mauro, you talked earlier about self-development and being, self-empowered. And that is exactly my goal. It's helping people to feel that they're in control of their lives and they're responsible for their lives. So it's all about, food is about everything. It's 100% about everything, drinks, everything like that. It's what we consume as to how we are going to, what performance we're going to have. And I always relate it to, let's say, a beautiful Formula One car. So if you're putting really bad fuel into a Formula One car, there is no way it's going to work very well. It needs to be maintained, it needs to be looked after, it needs to be respected, and it has to have a certain standard. And if we can relate our body to be exactly the same, or worship it as good as it is, as a blessing as it is, then we will get exactly what we want out of it. So food is energy, or food can be your medication, your medicine, or it could be your poison. It's your choice. What you choose to put in is what you will receive.
mm. What you put in is what you receive, and then what you experience in life. So what you give outside.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about even the physical, it's the mental as well.
Mm,
Food can be so effective in bringing your mental acuity up, your state of being so profoundly, or it can
mm,
drop it down substantially. It can really make you feel very flat and lethargic, and yeah, it can be very detrimental. So
mm.
very powerful stuff if we just want to stick with the food.
What are the effect in a relationship?
Yeah,
All of these things.
yeah.
How affect a relationship?
Wow. That's a big topic in itself. Maybe I'll just refine it a little bit in from what my clients tell me. So I have clients who come to see me, and because I'm a naturopath, we do a lot of counseling as well. And we hear a lot of things about people's relationships or circumstances or whatever. And a recent client who was talking to me, she was like, Lisa, you know, we've been married for a long time. Everything's been really good. However, you know, her hormones have changed, as an example, and she's not feeling so great about herself. So the weight around the stomach is going on. She's feeling lethargic. She's feeling bloated. She's not feeling confident in herself. Yeah.
Mm.
It's not about how much you weigh or anything like that. It's always how you feel about yourself.
Mm.
So, you know, she's now saying that, you know, in the bedroom, she's not wanting to get as intimate as before. She's getting more agitated. She's getting more irritated. Her capability of coping is not so good. So what we did was she came to see me for one thing, and we sorted out her food, and, you know, she's feeling better within herself. And so she's got her confidence back. She's feeling more attractive to herself.
Mm.
That then also is a bonus because she feels attractive to her partner as well. So she's feeling just, you know, she's vibrant, she's excited, she's energized, she's light, she's happy. And I'm not just saying that's for a female only, because it's obviously, I get this for the males as well. Because when we talk about things like male health, one of the things that people don't realize a metabolic dysfunction is actually low libido for a male and female, low libido. Metabolic dysfunction can be also that there's erectile dysfunction as well. So it's all encompassing. So going back down to just eating really good, clean, healthy foods, the majority of the time, don't get me wrong, Mauro, I enjoy a lovely glass of wine or a lovely meal, but it's not all day, every day. Yeah. So everything's in moderation and being able to tweak it to make it perfect for them. So if that makes sense, the relationship thrives so much better when the two individuals actually feel good in themselves and they like themselves and they have confidence, because you want someone to feel good in their body, because when they do, obviously it makes their relationship a lot better.
Mm. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. I understand what you're saying. I can see many times in my office people the problem they have between person A and person B. Person A and person B, we talk here. Person A and person B, difference in wanting to be intimate, and many times is come down to how they see each other in front of the mirror. They look at each other in front of the mirror, they look at each other and say, I like myself or not?
Yeah.
Or I have eaten a McDonald's burger today. I feel bad about myself. I feel guilty. And if you feel guilty, if you feel bad about yourself, how you can be intimate, ready to be intimate with your partner? It's impossible. It's very hard anyway. Correct?
Yeah. And I think, Mara, when you say that as well, I'm thinking, you know, when you're in a relationship, you want to have the best experience, don't you? Yeah. So when you're feeling really good in your body and you're feeding your body to feel good within yourself and you're feeling confident, like you said, person A and person B, it makes no difference. You actually perform better, but you also have more fun. Yeah. And it's at a next level. And who doesn't want to be at the next level of
Mm.
a relationship in whatever that looks like, wherever we're talking about, whether it's in the bedroom or out of the bedroom, makes no difference. It's about that lightness and that connection and that bonding. And like you said, you know, the McDonald's, not is it just about McDonald's, it's about what that makes you feel. It's not even about the shame and the guilt, because some people may or may not have it. It's just how the body responds and reacts to that food. And when my clients who have never experienced eating uniquely for themselves, it's like a light bulb goes on and it's an aha moment. And they're just like, this, I feel so good. And that's just a tenfold with their kids, with their family, with their work, with their partners. It opens up possibilities. So it's so exciting. I love it. I love what you do. I think it's so essential and so important, and stopping it from being a dogma, a stigma, that we don't discuss things that may not be working for us, and to be discussing how to make things better. And the communication is so
Absolutely.
brilliant.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, look, Lisa, I think this is one of the conversations that every couple, I think, should have. This is why I invited you here, because nutrition, like money, like intimacy, is something that we just try to not talk about because we may be scared to offend the other. I think we should put ourselves maybe in a better place as a body weight, because anyway, the age we getting older, they get younger, we get older, and anyway, the way that we eat have an impact on our body and our physicality, and uh, if we cannot feel ourselves good with who we are, is what other people perceive us. This is why I read recently this is a study that was saying that people have better looking physically, have a better outcome in lives. There's high chance that they have a better jobs, better salary, better partner, better lifestyle in overall. So this is why I thought your work and working with people to feel better about themselves is something that we need to discuss. Can you tell me a little bit about how the food, for example, work inside us? For
Yeah.
example, if someone try to be pregnant, or they have problem with erection, or the sperm, how the food impact on the sperm for the male. Would you have to tell me a little bit more about these things?
Yeah, Mauro, totally. It 100% impacts. So I have clients who come and see me because they can't get fertile or they're not able to have babies. And with the program that I do, both partners, yeah, it's not just one, it's always both, that will make themselves optimally healthy to be able to create the perfect environment and condition for the babies to be conceived and then be carried. Yeah.
Mm,
So food is everything. Food is energy. What I always say is if you're not eating the right food, you're not going to get the right energy. So if you want energy, you need to eat the right food. If we eat the wrong food, what happens is we have inflammation in our body, which causes issues or dysfunction or potentially next level disease. Yeah. And like you were talking about a little bit earlier, Mauro, it's about confidence and beauty and, like feeling good in yourself, not beauty as in, physical, but feeling beautiful in yourself. It's about health as well, longevity. Yeah. Being able to have such a good life that while we're here, we can live it to whatever desire we want. So how does our body utilize food? It uses it as energy, or it will be utilized to cause inflammation. That's very basic and very, very simple, but that's basically what it is. Is it going to work for us or is it going to work against us? We
mm,
get to choose because no one else forces us to put food in our mouth. We're the
mm.
only ones, yeah?
What,
So if you eat really well,
mm. I would like that you go a little bit more specific. What are the effect on food, for example, in a male sperm?
sperm. So, well, it creates a production of it. So
Mm,
we need certain nutrients for the sperm to be created, yeah?
mm. Yes.
So if we are not giving the body the right nutrients and foods for the body to create sperm, then how do you expect it to work?
Mm.
So it's like trying to put, let's say, my favorite Coca-Cola, into a car and try and get it to work. You're using
Mm.
the wrong fuel. You have to use high premium fuel,
Yes.
which is
Mm.
specific for it. So
Mm.
it's all very much about this will create this. So if we give very high nutritionally valued food into our body is so magical that it will utilize every single item from
Mm.
there, the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, everything, to then utilize it to, let's say, create a very healthy sperm.
Mm.
Or we will have a very unhealthy sperm because we're not feeding it correctly.
So can you give me an example of what can be, for example, for this type of situation, good food and bad food? Give me a
Ah,
couple of examples.
yeah, easy. So bad food would be ultra processed foods. You know
Mm.
how like you go into a shop and you turn the back of a box over and you can't even recognize one item of the ingredients? That is bad food. And that will cause a lot of inflammation in our body that then allows everything just blocks. It just goes, nope, Barley's. What do I do with this? It's
Mm.
foreign. It's foreign food. So anything that's ultra processed would be a no-no. Anything that is whole real foods, like really good quality protein, meats, fish, legumes, seafood, chicken, good quality chicken, some really good vegetables, really good quality oils. So it's not about removing anything. We need all this stuff. We need good carbs. We need good proteins. We need good oils, nuts and seeds, but they have to be good quality.
Now, very interesting that you're talking about this type of food. You think is the same for a male and female, that we have this kind of situation? We're talking about sperm here, but you think is the same, for example, for the sexual arousal for a woman? What is the impact of the food on this? And what, for example, for a woman have don't have enough wetness down there, what a woman can do to improve their metabolism to help them to be more.
Yeah. Ready. Yeah, Mauro. So from my experience, my humble experience and my clients and everything like that who are females, women's turn on is in the brain. Yeah. They have to be
Okay.
turned on in the brain. That's my opinion. Yeah. So if
Mm.
they're not turned on in the brain, nothing else really works. Yeah. They need
Mm.
to be aroused in such a different way. Yeah. So there's so many intricacies within regards to that. And I always find there's a few stopping points where if you don't feel comfortable taking your clothes off or being seen by your partner, or you're not feeling comfortable in yourself to want to have sex, then that's already going to be stopping the creation of the lubricant that's required for a woman to be aroused per se. Yeah. So, all the intricacies of that. So it then goes back to eating really clean, healthy foods. So you're feeling like you want to have sex. A woman's got to want to have sex, I think, personally. You've got to want to
Mm.
have sex. Yeah. It's always a bonus if they want to have sex and they're feeling
Of course.
confident and excited and eager to. And when they're
Mm.
feeling good in their body, there's a higher chance, because you talk to any woman, I would say, if they're not feeling good in their body, and that doesn't matter what size you are, but if you're feeling good in your body,
Mm.
yeah, you are more than happy.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
because the switch is on.
So you say the idea to have good food have an impact on our brain, and our brain have an impact on our desire. So having an impact on our desire, this desire have an impact on our life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes absolutely sense. So can you give me a few steps that maybe couples can put in place, start at the end of this podcast, um, start to implement in their life to already improve their lifestyle?
Yeah, for sure. Easy as. So, what I would look at is I'd go to your fridge and I'd go to your pantry and I would just have a look what's in there. And I'd do a bit of an audit and
Mm,
just see what is processed, what, sources and things like that, and what's got the sugar in it, what's got all the processed items in it, and just have a real good look. Yeah. What are you
mm,
eating? What are you eating? That is one of the first things I would look at. Also, then what are you drinking? Yeah. So, are you drinking sugary items? Are you drinking alcohol on a regular basis? Yeah. How much alcohol are you drinking or how much are you consuming? And then just having another audit on that. Yeah. Because one of the best things you can do is to hydrate your body, and that is through water. We often don't drink enough water. And as a little bit of a measurement, and you've got to be mindful if people have got kidney issues or heart issues or other things, we've got to be very careful on that, or their doctor or their practitioner has said not to. What we require is 35 mils of water per kilogram of
mm.
body weight in the day.
Per day, per
Yeah,
day.
so 35 mils
Okay.
per kilogram of body weight that they have. So that could vary
Mm,
substantially. And that needs to be consumed on a regular basis because that will increase your metabolism. It will flush out the impurities and it will
mm,
hydrate your body so that it works so much better. And it will actually give you a sense of fullness and you won't be so hungry because often we think that we're hungry, but we're thirsty. But our
mm.
body is actually not able to recognize that anymore because what we do is we put food in our mouth instead of going, oh, is that thirst or is it hunger? When's the last time I had something to drink? Have I had enough to drink today? And
Mm.
always beautiful, clean water.
What about fruit? Um, People suggest because fruit is supposed to have water inside,
Yeah,
correct? So
yeah,
everything have water inside, but fruit are very good because, especially like for example, pineapple. Don't put pineapple on the pizza, please. But
yes.
pineapple, for example, is very watery. Watermelon is very watery. Now there's this conception that if we do, for example, a big um, tank of um, fruit mix. Do you think this is good or is bad for ourselves? Because I've listened few opinion, and one was saying fruit is good if you have once every so often because it have a lot of sugar inside. That's correct?
So are you saying fruit as in like fruit juice or
Yeah, fruit juice. Yes,
oh,
yes.
no fruit juice? No,
No fruit juice.
no, absolutely not.
No, any kind of juice anyway.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree. Because what you're doing is if it's processed, absolutely not. It's not fresh.
Mm,
Yeah. Occasionally, if you do a processed one, no worries. Yeah. If you're going to put it through your juicer or whatever, but
mm,
fruit juice, the reason why what I recommend is fruit whole. There's a
mm,
reason why it's whole because if we juice it, we're taking a lot of the fiber out, the pectin. There's a variety of things that we may be removing, and there's a reason, like an apple. When you eat an apple, there's so many variables in there that stop the sugar content from processing so quickly. Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay.
it's a holistic, again, it always goes back to holistic. So no,
Mm.
I don't recommend juices at all, ever. Fruit juices, no way.
And what about this big, you see people around with this big drink of protein shake and they sometimes are very big. What do you think about this kind of nutrition?
I still believe that it should be real natural protein. We don't know what the
Mm,
quality of protein is that's being
mm,
delivered as well. I don't,
okay.
because protein, good quality protein costs a lot of money, and
Mm,
too much protein is bad for us. Yeah.
mm,
And again, if we're having it where they've extracted certain things and then created it and put other things in with it, then is our body actually processing it as well as we should? And we have to be careful with our kidneys with protein. And if you're eating a lot of protein, powders or whatever, you have to be careful of water as well, because you need to have a good quality amount of water if you're consuming protein powders and things like that. So again, I don't recommend them. I prefer to have whole real foods. If I'm going to
mm.
go back to the basics, I think our body is meant to have whole real foods. It's not meant to be having all this processed stuff, and protein powders are processed.
Can you give me an example of few good protein food?
Yeah, for sure. So beautiful proteins would be, gorgeous fish, any type of beautiful fresh fish or whichever one you like, some amazing seafood. Yeah. Any type of seafood you like, some beautiful poultry, some turkey, that type of thing. Chicken, beautiful. Any gorgeous meat that you may like. Any
Mm,
legumes, which are your chickpeas, your lentils, all those type of things, red kidney beans, that type of thing. And nuts and seeds are actually really good quality protein as well, just to
mm.
name a few.
For the couple, they chose to live in, for example, without meat, to
Yep.
be vegan or vegetarian. There is this discussion about the fact that people have this kind of lifestyle, they're going to miss some good protein. So, and for some experts in the field, they do not suggest to do it. Um, Others opposite. They say that you can find good protein in vegetables, as well, only in vegetables, like you say, beans or lentils or these things. So for people to choose to live a life as a vegan or vegetarian, um, what is the best way to balance protein, carbs, and all the rest?
Yeah. Really good question. So I have clients who are vegetarian, and I have had clients who are vegan. It's just being mindful with a vegan is that there may need to be supplementation, let's say B12 or something like that. We've got a reserve of B12 in our body, and after 2 or 3 years, it will start to deplete. We need B12 for many reasons. It's an essential vitamin
What
for
is
our
a
health and
B12?
well-being. B12 is very much for nerve endings, for energy, for mental health, to name such a few things. So if someone's a vegan, they need to know how to be a vegan. Yeah. It's not just eating vegetables. They must have some sort of protein as well. So it's really delving into it and understanding how to do it and do it successfully. Because I know there's some people who do it really, really well. I don't believe everyone is cut out to be a vegan or a vegetarian. Some people do need meat at this stage. Is that going to be forever? I don't know. But I do know that some people work better eating a meat protein and animal protein. Some people work really well with vegan, but they've got to be mindful. Are they then going into processed food? Because that's not resolving any issue for me, because I see a lot of people who are potentially vegetarian and vegan eating processed vegan vegetarian food, which is so detrimental to the body. It's not healthy.
Mm. Can you give me an example of this kind of food?
Yeah, so there's things like um, they're called like vegan, alternative chicken nuggets. So
Okay.
they've used some sort of product that is not animal based, but is it a healthy version? I would prefer someone started from scratch and used their lentils or their nuts and seeds as well, and their vegetables and their good oils, and created something from there.
Mm.
Yeah, much healthier. So it
Okay.
doesn't. So I don't have a viewpoint on it. There's many reasons why someone might be a vegan or
No,
vegetarian.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
just meeting people where they're at
yeah.
and making the best circumstances. But I will always get their pathology checked to see where their levels are, where their zinc levels are, where their B12 is. Is it working for them or is it
Mm.
not? Because if it
Okay.
isn't, maybe there needs to be a discussion or it needs to be a tweak. They just need to tweak to know how to do it, because they might not know how to be a good vegan, if that makes sense. It's like being a good anything. There's balance. We need good quality protein. We need our gorgeous vegetables, yeah, which are our carbohydrates, and we need our good oils. Those are the important things. We do not need sugar in our diet at all. Our body will
What is,
create sugar.
what is a good oil?
A good oil, great question. So,
Mm.
Mauro, one of the best ones, olive oil.
Come on.
What else? What else can I
What
say?
else?
But it's got to be good quality as well.
Of course.
Yeah. So it must be good quality and preferably local if possible, just because if
Mm.
it's been sitting for a long period of time,
Mm.
and obviously in dark or tins, dark glass or tins, so it's not been oxidized. Coconut oil potentially can be quite good for people. Ghee can be quite amazing for people. Yeah.
Mm.
Flaxseed oil is amazing, but you don't heat flaxseed oil up as well. And then there's things like avocado oil. It's all these ones which are, canola oil. No, no. All the sunflower oil, all those vegetable oils are a big no-no.
Yeah.
They cause a lot of inflammation in the body.
Yeah. I remember 20 years ago, when I was in Italy, sunflower oil was very popular at the time because it was a cheaper version of the olive oil, because olive oil is expensive. For us, as Italian, for us, olive oil is like is the god of food. Okay. Um, Tomato and olive oil, the two things for us is you cannot stay without. Um, but sunflower oil was something that was used especially to fry, because in some areas, and I think here is the same, fried food is very popular. It's very tasty. Especially if you have something that maybe is going off, if fried, you don't feel anything and you have it and you say, wow, that's fantastic. Um, what kind of problem can give you this kind of oil in your body? There
So
is
it will,
any there is
yeah.
any connection with the cancers or other situations?
So we'll be really careful on this one, Mauro. So
Mm,
basically, it causes inflammation and
mm,
oxidization in our
mm,
body. So what it does is it's a disservice to our body. It really is. And we need good oils.
mm,
It's not removing oils. Absolutely not. That is the worst thing for you to do. We so need oil for our health and well-being, for our mental state, for everything, for our body to be working as well as it is. And it's about having good quality oil. Yeah. And I don't have to explain to you what's good quality oil. Yeah. But
mm,
it's having people strip oil. There's no
mm,
fat. I'm like, no, you have to have fat. I encourage my clients. I've got clients who don't use any oil or fats. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And just by simply putting good quality oil into their daily life makes such a difference. However, you got to be careful. How much processed oils and fats are you eating that you don't even know you're eating? When you
mm,
eat whole, real foods, you know exactly what fat you're eating and what oils you're eating.
mm,
But there is a lot of processed fats, hydrolyzed fats, all these nasties in processed foods. So, going back to that original thing you asked me, what would you definitely be wanting, your listeners to do is to have a look at what processed foods you're eating. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be so simple to just eat a beautiful, Mauro, I was over in Italy just a few months ago, and, the food, my goodness, real, whole, natural food. Simple. It's simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. And it doesn't need a lot of time to be looked after. And it can be fun. It can be really fun as a couple to cook together, to prep together, to eat together, to make it an experience.
So your 3 point, the step point is one, go in the kitchen and check if there is anything processed in your kitchen. Second step, grab all of this, throw in the bin, and maybe turn on a fire.
Yeah.
Correct?
Be careful, it might implode.
And number 3, implement good, healthy food in your house. How they can create a place where they can talk about meal planning, food eating, without having arguments.
Okay, so I suppose we'd be having a communication discussion. What does someone like? What do they like to eat? What have they got in common that they like to eat? Is really important. And then always start slowly. I always say, start slowly. There's a book called Tiny Habits, and it's such a good book because we always want to start at the end, but we need to start at the beginning. And it's maybe just keeping it really simple. One meal where you're starting. What are we going to do? What do we agree on this meal? How can we cook it potentially together? You may not want to cook together. It doesn't matter. It's just how do you make it work for you? Because everyone's going to be different. Every couple's different. Everything's so unique, and it's just making it work for them. So I think starting with just one meal at a time is really good, and having fun with it. Make it enjoyable. Make it simple. Put the music on. Have the gorgeous music. Have the environment. Have the atmosphere. Have the experience, and keep it simple. Keep it really simple. Life should be simple, uncomplicated.
Yeah,
We make it
I
too
like it.
difficult.
Make it simple, like your food. Make it simple,
Yeah.
not complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do it like the Italians do. Keep it simple. What is it? 3 or 4 items, and they make the
yeah,
best food ever. Why
yeah.
does it need to be any more? If there's more in there, I find that it gets complicated and it gets too much, and we don't need it. And always use really good quality as best you can.
Do you think carbs is a good thing? Now, be careful what you say, because as Italian,
Yeah.
pasta is
Yeah.
the king of
Yeah.
carbs. No, aside the jokes, carbs bad or good?
So what is your interpretation of carbs? Because this is the thing. It's my education with my clients is unraveling what they've been taught or marketing has taught them is a carb. Yeah. So people go, oh, so there's no carbs. I'm like, what is a carb for you? So basically a carb for me is really good quality vegetables. That's your carbs. Good vegetables are your carbs. Yeah. Good quality bread. Yeah. And occasionally, for me, Mauro, like with you, I'm not a fan, for me, as in I will say, for me, I'm not a fan of pasta and rice that's in Australia. Disrespect, I'm sorry. We don't process it properly. We don't refine it properly. We don't have good quality. That's my opinion. Going really out there. When I'm in Italy, the quality of the pasta there is a different level. We don't have the same reaction responses. It's not causing inflammation in our body, because what they do is they look after their soil. They don't put junk on the soil. They don't put pesticides and herbicides. They respect from the ground level to the processing. They process it really well and they grow it really well, and then they eat it really well. Yeah. So it's chalk and cheese. I can't talk about Australia and then talk about another country, because I've got a client who's from Pakistan, and she's like, Lisa, the fruit and the vegetables here. And I know our quality is not as good as it used to be. It's not, because we're not looking after the how it's growing.
I agree with you. I think anyway, the difference, what I see is the quality of the soil that we have in Italy and we have here. And I think the quality of the soil is the fact that Italy is surrounded by volcans. So the quality of the land is very important. We have rivers, we have lakes, it's snow in winter, it's raining. So the season is very different. Here, especially in Perth, is a very desertic area. So if you want to grow something, you need to push this grow with something. Otherwise, it does not grow. There's no water. And this is what I think is the difference between Italy and here. Majority of the time, this is why here tomato don't have the same flavor that they have in Spain, in Italy, in France, in Turkey. Very, very different. But it's true as well that anyway, this kind of food, the tomato from here, is much better than any processed food. And
Oh, totally.
you can work with some good olive oil, with some salt. You
Mm.
can make it good.
Yeah, absolutely, Mauro. If you've
Mm.
got processed food compared to whole real food, but you can get good quality. You can still get good quality in, especially Perth. You just got to
Mm.
find the locations, and it's not the where. For me, it's the farmers, yeah, or the local greengrocers. They have the freshest stuff because it's literally been picked and it's local and it's here. So,
Yeah,
that's the ideal. That's the ideal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you tell me a story of your one of your client, a successful story?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So got lots of those. I'm very
mm,
blessed.
mm,
So I have messages on my phone nearly every single day with clients who are keeping in touch with me, just letting them know how they're going and just saying thank you so much because I'm feeling so good. So I'm very blessed. I do this because I want to teach people how to eat really well for themselves specifically, and be empowered so that they can go off and do what they need to do, because once they know, they know. They don't need to understand anymore regarding the food. Um, one of my many, many favorite clients, but one of my clients came to see me, early 30s, had had her first child, um, loved junk food, loved junk food, like her favorite thing. And she was a teacher and she had to squat all the time because she had little kids in her class, and she couldn't even squat down because she just didn't have the capacity. So she wasn't feeling good about herself and she wasn't feeling good in her relationship, and she knew she had to do something because she was actually getting to a stage where there was issues with her sugar. So she was pre-diabetic, her blood pressure, there was an issue, and there was cholesterol issues starting to creep up. So she knew she'd seen me before. And after 9 months thus far, she has lost over 45 kilos. And she is a new woman. She feels fabulous. Her relationship's the best it's ever been.
mm,
She's made some decisions because she's feeling clearer and more confident in herself to even have a career change, which she said a
wow.
year ago she wouldn't even have thought of because she was
Mm,
just running the mill. She was just
mm,
doing what she needed to do. And she has no desire for fast food. Like she said, Lisa, it's not there.
yeah,
I have no trigger. I have no desire. I feel so good each and every day. And I feel so confident, so happy. She said, I can't imagine eating any other way. And that is just whole, real foods. She said she craves it. She craves that food. And that's my goal, is just to educate people to know what's right for their body, for themselves.
Wow.
Simple as that. So that's just one of my, I've got many, Mauro. The list is a mile long.
Mm. What about a couple? A couple come in and with maybe you work with both of them. What was the challenge for you working with them?
So
Yeah.
I love working with couples
Mm.
because, it's fun. And I love that they're wanting to look after themselves and their relationship as well. So I had a couple who I had who came in who wanted to get better. Again, there was blood pressure issues. They're both on blood pressure tablets, which I was very shocked because they were very young. And I was like, I don't think you should be on blood pressure tablets, as in they have to stay on, obviously, the doctor said. But I'm like, we need to reduce your weight and reduce the inflammation, and then the blood pressure will come down. And then they were able to actually go off their blood pressure by their doctor's authority. They were able to go off their blood pressure tablets because they actually didn't need it. So it was really interesting because they also really loved socializing, entertaining, drinking, and everything like that. But they were committed. They were determined. And one of them flew in, flew out. So that's a challenge in itself. And I've got a lot of clients who fly in, fly out. And they had such a profound difference in their physical, how they look from before and after, and have their friends who they say to them, we don't even recognize who you are anymore. They're much more, they're a fun, beautiful couple as well, but they're even more vivacious. They're doing more activities. They love fishing. They love going out four-wheel driving. They just got much more energy, and they're both so proud of each other. So they actually have supported each other and kept each other accountable, but they're just so proud of each other, and they're actually bonded even further. And that's just such a blessing because it's just layers and layers of commitment. And who knows what those layers are going to be. But when you see someone feeling so good in themselves, that's priceless.
Wow. Um, well, for the listener that listen outside Australia, the fly in, fly out are the people who go from the city to the mining site. And we call them fly in, fly out because they fly in on Monday and they come back maybe at the end of the week or in 2 weeks' time. So, Lisa, what is the the challenge for a fly in, fly out in um,
Yeah. So because they're going to be on site potentially on a mining site, and I don't know if anyone knows what it's like to be on a mining site, but the food can be very interesting. However, there's always going to be some sort of meat, and there's going to be vegetables, and there's going to be fruit. So the challenge is, are they able to eat the food that they want to or are able to? And each and every time we've had no problems. I've got clients also who fly in, fly out to other states, and they may have their own facilities where they're able to purchase their own food, and it's just being organised. So is it a challenge? Potentially, but my perspective, and I think yours is as well, Mauro, it's about perspective. It's always about, how can I make this work?
yeah.
Because we can either close down and go, this I can't do, it's too hard. Well, guess what? Your wish is your command. It is too hard. Or I'm curious, how can I make this work? Because I can make anything work. And I believe
Mm.
everyone else can make anything work if they really want it to. So you can have excuses or you can have solutions. Simple as that.
I agree with you. Look, this last statement, I agree with you. Absolutely. It's very important that people take charge of as responsibility of what they do in their life. Too many times we spend too much time complaining about anything else. And everything is bad because, I don't know, whatever you want to say, pointing the finger. But we have to remember that we can choose what we're going to eat or not. We can choose if we want to stop at the McDonald's for say one McDonald's, or we want to wait to go home and make a nice sandwich at home with bread and good meat and good vegetables inside. We can choose what we do. This is why the name of the podcast is Progress Over Perfection, because we can progress uh, every day if we really want. Lisa, can you tell me if people want to work with you and want to connect with you, where they find you?
Just a quick one before we go to that, if that's all right, Mauro, because
Absolutely.
you know how, like you just said about, we get to choose. And like for you, like with your clients as well, absolutely we get to choose. Sometimes we don't know what to choose or how to choose, or we're confused, because there's so much information being thrown at us. And we're like, well, is that right for us or is it not? Or, should I do this or shouldn't I do that? Or nothing's working. So that's why they need people like you, Mauro, where, sometimes you need someone to hold your hand, to make you accountable, to give you some direction, give you some expertise. Because if we don't have that, sometimes it is hard and we just don't know what to do. So I think, like Mauro, for you, especially with what you do, we need support and we need to be brave enough to say we need that help. And it's not a weakness. I believe it's 100% strength, and it's a commitment that you want to make things better in not only your couple's relationship, but as an individual, because
Absolutely.
is that not the purpose in life? To have amazing, authentic, exceptional relationships, not only with ourselves, but with whoever we're with. And it's not even just couples, because things like for you, with what you teach and you guide, is that will then fold over into other relationships, because more we become aware of ourselves, the better we can be for ourselves. Yeah, because we often don't see what we don't see. We're sitting in a jar. Yeah, we can't see the label, so we need
No.
to be able to step out of it. But we need guidance often, someone to hold our hand, who's got our back, who gets us where we can be the most vulnerable and intimate in our thoughts and our conversations, where we're not going to be judged,
Mm.
where we're going to be loved and supported and
Yeah.
honored and guided to make those steps forward.
Look, you open a door here. Thank you to talk about my job. We are in the same boat here. Both of us, we work with people to help them to have a better lifestyle, and we are both passionate about the work that we do with them. Uh, my belief is, if you look at the great sports people, they have coaches for every section of their life. They have, for example, you take Federer, the greatest tennis player in history. He has a coach for the business, a coach for the mind, a coach for the relationship, a coach for the media, the coach. They have coaches for all these things. Now, I do not expect that people spend the money that Roger Federer spent, because he has the money to do that. But what I think is, if someone like him do that to be always at the best, what stop us to invest on someone can help us to be better? Um, what people to maybe call you, Lisa, because they want to improve? Uh, Spending that $100, $200 in learning, at the end of the day, you're going to save it in a hospital.
100%.
And if you save in hospital, means that you have a better lifestyle. If you have a better lifestyle, maybe you have a long life. If you have a long life, you have more time on this planet, and this, maybe you have more time with your kids and all the rest. But this is in every section of life. In relationship, I I do couple counseling, but I have my counselor for myself. I have my business coach for myself. I have people to work. I'm reach out, say, hey, what can I do here? I'm stuck, because sometimes we are stuck. We need a third person to shake us. Hey, maybe this can be the way to go. Hey, you say, wow, okay, and you can take that one, or you can invent one of yours. Your brain click and say, yes, I like yours, but I make mine. Correct?
And Mauro, I think from what I'm hearing you're saying, which I also experience when
Mm.
I have a coach, and I do have coaches, is I go from A to Z very quickly. Yeah. And I get very clear and I get my results really succinctly. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not like this. However, there's such amazing learning curve, but it takes out the confusion. It takes out the frustration. It takes out the lack of knowledge that I do not have. It takes out the accountability where I just go, you know what? This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I
Mm.
require. This is an
Mm.
investment. I will
Yeah,
get the tenfold of this and everyone else around me, because if I'm happy, then does it not make everyone else happy?
love it. Listen, Lisa, I will stay here. I don't know for many hours talk with you. Uh, how people can connect with you if they want to work with you?
For sure. So I have a website, and I'm not sure if you can put a link underneath, but it's lisanaturopath.com. And you are more than welcome to book in for a free discovery chat if you would like to discuss any further, any questions or anything like that. I do work with people overseas. I have worked with people overseas, no problems whatsoever. I love what I do. So if anyone ever wants to have a chat about how their health is, in regards to how I can help them, I'm more than happy to be there. If I can help, great. If I can't, I'm always the first one to say, you know what, there's someone else that's more appropriate. So I will always do what's right for my client. Yeah, it's most
Love it.
important. Yeah.
Love it. Last question before to let you go. Can you give me a couple of books, two books that people should read to understand about nutrition?
I would say my first one, which I actually have here, is called Good Energy, which is Dr. Casey Means. So she's actually a surgeon, was a surgeon who is now a functional medicine. That is such a great book to just understand everything that I've just talked about and everything that I would recommend for people in regards to it, because it's about your pathology, but it's also about what foods are right for you as well. And that's what basically I do. And then Tiny Habits, the one I talked about before, because it's all good to have good ideas in nutrition, but you need to have the habits to implement the nutrition. Yeah.
Mm. Yep.
Keep it
I agree.
simple. Tiny
I agree.
habits. One thing I'd suggest is drink more water today. And what would the highest version of you be saying to do today? And I always
Mm.
say, what step in? What would the highest version of me say for me to be eating or drinking well? Yeah. So let me
Mm.
have a few more glasses of water. Simple.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Tiny habit and good food, good energy. Tiny habit and good energy. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. We are at the end of this podcast. I'm very, very sad for that. And we'll see each other to the next one. Please subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, help us to grow. And if you have any question, just send an email. Thank you so much. See you next time. Ciao. Bye.